Hey guys, welcome back again, and what we're going to look at today is one of our primal movement patterns, as Paul Chek would say, and this is the squat. So this forms the basis of so many of our movement patterns. So I want to make sure we get really good form with this, and then we can start to play with it, add some load, add some multi-directional movement patterns to it, and it can become a whole exercise unto itself. So let's get cracking.
One of the main features of getting a good squat is being able to hinge at the hips and maintain a nice long spine. So before you go into your squat, you might want to practice what we call a waiter's bow. So I get you to imagine a rod or an imaginary skewer through your hips here. And we want to be able to pivot through this imaginary skewer, maintaining a nice long spine. One of the things that can go wrong with a squat is for the pelvis to tuck underneath as we go, and we end up with a bent spine or rounded spine. So we want to end up pivoting through the hips, maintaining a nice long spine as we go. Another way that we can look at this is looking at markers here on the body. So we can put our fingers on our pubic bone, navel and breastbone. If those 3 points stay equal, we know our spine is long and straight. If the two bottom points come together, our pelvis will be tilting. If the two top points come together, the body will be tilting. If they all come together, we're flexed. If they all come away from each other, we're extended. So we can use this to monitor. So we come into our waiter's bow. From this position, all you need to do is just bend the knees and then come up again. Waiter's bow, bend the knees. And we're coming into here what's called triple flexion. Flexion at the hip, flexion at the knee, flexion at the ankle. So this is the position we want to see as opposed to this one, especially when we're going to be adding load. Now, front on, what we want to see with the legs is that the knees track forwards. So they're going to come over the feet. Again, we can't be too specific about where they're going. Not everybody has knees that tracks over the second toe. In all reality, our knees will actually come in a little bit towards our first toe as the feet naturally pronate when we bend. So, pivot, come down, our knees will track forwards. The wider we have our legs, the more obvious it'll be that the knees do come in. And we definitely want to see that small degree of pronation happening in the foot so that we can load the tissue in order to come back up again.
Don't forget, when we're squatting, we want to make sure we have good core recruitment before we move. We don't need to be bracing, and we don't need to be gripping the butt cheeks. This is a gravity assisted movement, so a little bit of core recruitment to help stabilize the pelvis, hinging into the hips, and really getting a sense of softness and depth into the front of the hips. We don't want to feel ourselves gripping. With regards to weight placement, we want to be in the middle of the foot. So try not to think too much about taking your weight back through your heels. Although this is often a common cue, it tends to encourage the toes lifting off, and we want full foot placement on the floor. So have a go at some really good squatting exercises. Try and get some really good form, doubt pat, create a good motor engram pattern, and then we can start playing with the squat and using it for our strength training.